Hello dear listener, and welcome. As the soft light of the day begins to fade, and the quiet comfort of the night gently descends, let us embark together on a tranquil journey. A journey not through physical landscapes, but through the vast, unfolding expanse of human time. Tonight, we will drift into the serene contemplation of history. History, in its most fundamental sense, is a deep, continuous breath drawn from the past. It is the systematic, patient, and profoundly human endeavor to understand what has been, to feel the echoes of lives lived long ago, and to grasp the intricate tapestry woven by generations before us. We focus, primarily, on the human past, on the choices, triumphs, struggles, and innovations that have shaped the world we inhabit today. It is a discipline that reaches back, not with a clamor, but with a quiet, persistent curiosity, seeking to illuminate the pathways that led us here. As an academic discipline, history is much more than a mere collection of facts. It is a delicate art of analysis and interpretation, a careful reconstruction built upon the fragments of what remains. Imagine a skilled artisan, gathering countless tiny pieces of mosaic, each one a whisper from a distant time. The historian, much like this artisan, meticulously examines these pieces, the evidence, to construct coherent narratives. These narratives are not simply chronological listings, like beads on a string, but richly textured accounts that strive to explain not only what happened, but, perhaps more profoundly, why it happened, and within which intricate contexts. We seek to understand the relevant background conditions, the subtle shifts, the grand movements, and the countless small causal mechanisms that propelled events forward. This quest for understanding extends beyond the simple sequence of events. History delves into the very meaning of these occurrences, gently probing the underlying human motives that drove them. What did it feel like to live in that particular moment? What were the hopes, the fears, the beliefs that animated those who walked before us? It is an exercise in empathy across the chasm of time, a quiet contemplation of the shared human experience, even amidst vastly different circumstances. There is, of course, another sense in which we use the word history, a simpler, perhaps more visceral understanding. In this interpretation, history refers not to the academic field, but to the past events themselves. It is simply what happened. It is the immutable flow of time, the unchangeable reality that unfolded, second by second, eon by eon. When we speak of a history as a countable noun, we are often referring to a specific representation of this past, a book, an article, a story that brings a particular segment of time to life. These history texts are fascinating cultural products, each one an active interpretation, a reconstruction through the lens of its author and its time. The narratives they present are living things. They can evolve and change as historians unearth new evidence, or as they gently reinterpret sources that have been known for centuries, finding new depths and nuances within them. The past itself, however, remains serene and static, an eternal backdrop against which our interpretations shimmer and shift. Some thoughtful historians distinguish between a history and a chronicle. A chronicle, like a diligent scribe, simply catalogues events in their sequential order. It is the simple, unadorned timeline. A history, by contrast, yearns for a comprehensive understanding. It seeks to illuminate the causes, to paint the contexts, and to trace the far-reaching consequences of events. It asks not just, what next, but, why this, and what then? For a very long time, the academic pursuit of history was primarily concerned with written documents. It focused its patient gaze on recorded history, beginning with the profound invention of writing, that miraculous technology that allowed thoughts and deeds to transcend the fleeting moment. The vast, silent epochs before writing, what we call prehistory, were traditionally left to other dedicated fields, such as archaeology, which listens to the earth itself for its stories. However, in the gentle broadening of the 20th century, the scope of history expanded beautifully. Historians began to embrace the human past even before the invention of writing, working hand in hand with archaeologists, anthropologists, and other scholars to paint a fuller, richer portrait of our earliest ancestors. A quiet debate often murmurs among historians: is history a social science, or does it find its home more comfortably within the humanities? Or, perhaps, is it a beautiful hybrid, a bridge between these two great domains of human inquiry? Like social scientists, historians formulate hypotheses, carefully gather objective evidence, and present arguments meticulously based on this evidence. We strive for a rigor, a dispassionate analysis, a search for patterns and connections that can sometimes feel akin to the work of a sociologist or an economist. We analyze demographics, economic trends, political structures, using systematic methods to uncover societal dynamics. Yet, at the very same time, history aligns itself so intimately with the humanities. It is deeply concerned with the subjective aspects of human experience, the personal interpretations, the art of storytelling, the unique journey of each individual and culture, and the vast tapestry of our shared cultural heritage. The human heart, mind, and spirit are at its core. It requires empathy, imagination, and a profound understanding of language, philosophy, and art. Some historians hold strongly to one classification, finding comfort in the objective rigor of science or the interpretive richness of the humanities. Others, perhaps more gently, characterize history as a hybrid discipline, a place where the methodical search for facts dances with the nuanced understanding of human meaning. It is a discipline that refuses to be neatly categorized, embracing the best of both worlds. This rigorous, empathetic approach stands in quiet contrast to pseudo-history. Pseudo-history is a label we use to describe practices that deviate from established historiographical standards. It might rely on disputed evidence, selectively ignore genuine sources, or employ other means to subtly distort the historical record. Often, these practices are motivated by specific ideological agendas, aiming to promote a biased or misleading narrative that lacks the rigorous analysis and scholarly consensus so vital to true historical understanding. It mimics the form, but lacks the substance, the intellectual honesty, and the patient pursuit of truth that defines genuine historical inquiry. The very purpose of history is another fascinating realm for contemplation, a gentle, ongoing inquiry into its deeper value. Many suggestions have been made, each reflecting a different facet of its profound importance. Some historians propose that its primary function is the pure discovery of truth about the past, an almost scientific quest to unearth, wie es eigentlich gewesen ist, as the great 19th-century German historian Leopold von Ranke so famously put it, meaning, how it actually was. This view embraces the idea that there is an objective past, a series of events that truly occurred, independent of our perception, and that the historian's noble task is to meticulously reconstruct this reality as accurately as possible. It is the ideal of striving for factual accuracy, for a lucid and unbiased account of what transpired, using the most rigorous methods available. This truth-seeking impulse is profound. It asserts that understanding the unadulterated past holds intrinsic value, much like understanding the laws of the universe or the mysteries of the natural world. It is a quiet assertion that reality, even past reality, deserves to be known for its own sake. B. The truth in history is a wonderfully complex concept. Is it merely the factual chronology? Or does it encompass deeper truths about human nature, about the recurring patterns of society, about the enduring questions of power, justice, and morality? The past, unlike a laboratory experiment, cannot be rerun. We observe its unique, singular events, never to be perfectly replicated. Our evidence is often incomplete, biased, or fragile, requiring immense skill and intuition to piece together. The very act of interpreting an ancient text or artifact involves a degree of subjectivity, an empathetic leap into a bygone worldview. So, while the pursuit of objective truth remains a guiding star, historians also acknowledge the interpretive nature of their work, understanding that any history is a reconstruction, a narrative shaped by the evidence available and the questions asked in the present. Beyond the pure discovery of truth, many also ponder the practical value of history. Can we truly learn lessons from the past? Can understanding historical mistakes help us avoid repeating them in the present or future? This perspective views history as a great teacher, a vast reservoir of human experience from which we can draw wisdom. By studying the rise and fall of civilizations, the consequences of political decisions, the dynamics of social change, or the impact of economic shifts, we hope to gain insights that can inform our contemporary choices. It suggests a cyclical understanding of human affairs, or at least a recognition of recurring themes and challenges. The lessons might not be simple, direct instructions, but rather a deepening of our understanding of human nature, the complexities of cause and effect, and the often unintended consequences of actions. It is a call to humility, reminding us that many paths have been trodden before, and that the present is but a fleeting moment in a much longer story. Consider, for a moment, the vastness of the sources upon which historical research gently rests. We rely on two main pillars: primary sources and secondary sources. Primary sources are those precious direct voices from the past. They are the raw materials, the direct evidence created during the period under study or by those directly involved. Imagine a whisper carried across centuries, a faded letter penned by a weary traveler, a brittle diary entry revealing personal thoughts, the official decree of an ancient king, a weathered photograph capturing a moment, an archaeological artifact, a fragment of pottery, a tool, a building. These are the closest we can come to touching the past itself, to hearing its authentic sound. They offer an immediacy, a window into the lived experience, often unfiltered by later interpretations. Secondary sources, by contrast, are works that analyze, interpret, and synthesize primary sources. They are the historian's own narratives, their essays, their books, their academic articles. These are the conversations about the past, informed by primary sources. They offer broader perspectives, comparative analyses, and often present arguments about the meaning and significance of events. A good historian engages in a continuous dialogue between these two types of sources, using the primary sources as foundations and the secondary sources as intellectual frameworks. The process of evaluating these sources is called source criticism, and it is a truly scientific, almost detective-like endeavor. This critical analysis involves asking fundamental questions: is the source authentic? Is it what it purports to be, or is it a forgery? What is its content? What information does it convey, explicitly and implicitly? And crucially, what is its reliability? Can we trust this source? What were the author's biases, their agenda, their perspective? What was their vantage point, their access to information? A single source, however compelling, is rarely enough to build a robust historical argument. Historians strive to integrate perspectives from several different sources, comparing and contrasting them, looking for convergence and divergence, to develop a coherent and well-supported narrative. This triangulation of evidence strengthens the argument, much like multiple observations in a scientific experiment reinforce a conclusion. Throughout the ages, and particularly since the professionalization of the discipline, different schools of thought have emerged, each offering distinct methodological approaches, like different lenses through which to view the past. Consider positivism, which emerged in the 19th century, with its emphasis on objective facts, the belief in discovering historical laws, and a scientific certainty in historical understanding, much like one might understand the laws of physics. It sought to make history as scientific as possible, focusing on verifiable facts and avoiding subjective speculation. Then came the Annals school, particularly influential in France, which shifted focus away from the history of great men and political events, towards long-term social and economic structures, geographical influences, and the mentalities of ordinary people over centuries. It embraced interdisciplinary approaches, weaving in insights from geography, sociology, and anthropology, painting a vast, slow-moving panorama of human life. Marxism, deeply rooted in the philosophical work of Karl Marx, interprets history primarily through the lens of material conditions and class struggle. It views history as a progression of modes of production, with economic forces driving societal change and conflict. It asks who benefits, who is exploited, and how power relations manifest in different historical epochs. More recently, postmodernism has introduced a profound skepticism about grand, overarching narratives and claims of absolute objectivity. It emphasizes the subjective nature of interpretation, the role of power in shaping historical discourse, and the idea that history is always, to some extent, a construct of the present. It encourages us to question not just what we know, but how we know it, and whose voices might have been silenced or marginalized in traditional accounts. Each of these schools, while sometimes in gentle contention, enriches our understanding, demonstrating that the past is too vast, too complex, too human, to be captured by a single, monolithic approach. They invite us to consider the past from multiple angles, acknowledging its inherent multifaceted nature. History, in its generous embrace, is a wonderfully broad discipline, encompassing many branches, each a pathway into a particular aspect of the human journey. Some historians focus intently on specific time periods, like the vibrant tapestry of ancient history, reaching back to the dawn of civilizations, or the intricate details of the medieval era, or the revolutionary shifts of the modern period. Others choose to concentrate on particular geographic regions, delving deeply into the unique histories of Africa, or Asia, or the Americas, understanding that context is profoundly shaped by place. Then there are thematic categorizations, which allow us to trace specific threads through the fabric of time. Political history examines the ebb and flow of power, the rise and fall of empires, the evolution of governance. Military history recounts conflicts, strategies, and the human cost of war, often shedding light on societal structures and technological advancements. Social history turns its gaze to the lives of ordinary people, focusing on family structures, class relations, daily routines, and cultural practices. Economic history explores the production, distribution, and consumption of resources, the growth of trade, the impact of technological innovation on livelihoods. Each of these branches illuminates a different layer of human experience, providing a deeper understanding of the forces that shape societies. Furthermore, some branches are defined by their specific research methods and sources. Quantitative history utilizes statistical analysis and numerical data to identify patterns and trends in large populations, bringing a scientific rigor to demographics, economics, and social structures. Comparative history examines similar phenomena across different cultures or time periods to identify universalities or unique divergences, offering profound insights into the human condition. And oral history captures the living memories of individuals, listening to personal testimonies and experiences, especially from those whose voices might not be found in written records, enriching our understanding with personal perspectives and lived truths. The very genesis of history as a field of inquiry is a profound story in itself. It emerged in antiquity, not as a sudden flash, but as a gradual, quiet unfolding, a gentle replacement of myth-infused narratives. Before history, explanations for origins and events often rested on the supernatural, on stories of gods and heroes intervening directly in human affairs. But in various corners of the ancient world, a new way of thinking began to stir, a desire to understand human events through human agency and observable cause and effect. Influential early traditions originated in the vibrant intellectual landscapes of Greece, where figures like Herodotus and Thucydides began to collect testimonies, scrutinize evidence, and offer rational explanations for wars and political changes. Herodotus, often called the father of history, traveled extensively, recording diverse customs and seeking to understand the motivations behind conflicts. Thucydides, with his rigorous analytical approach to the Peloponnesian War, focused on political power, human nature, and the careful evaluation of sources. In ancient China, scholars like Sima Qian meticulously compiled vast historical records, seeking to provide a comprehensive account of imperial dynasties and their legacies, laying foundations for a continuous tradition of historical writing. And later, in the Islamic world, brilliant minds like Ibn Khaldun developed sophisticated theories of historical causation, social change, and the cyclical nature of civilizations, offering philosophical depth to the study of the past. These early pioneers, in their own unique ways, began the long, slow work of disentangling human history from the realm of pure myth, grounding it in observation and critical thought. Historical writing continued its evolution throughout the ages, slowly but surely becoming more professional, more rigorous, and more systematic. This process truly accelerated in the 19th century, a time of profound intellectual and institutional growth. It was during this period that a rigorous methodology, emphasizing critical source evaluation and the pursuit of objectivity, became firmly established. Universities began to create dedicated history departments, archives were systematically organized, and academic institutions were founded to foster scholarly research and discourse. History moved from being largely the domain of gentlemen antiquarians or chroniclers to a respected, professional academic discipline, with its own standards, ethical guidelines, and peer review processes, all designed to ensure the integrity and reliability of its insights. History, as a discipline, does not stand in isolation. It is beautifully intertwined with many other fields, creating a rich tapestry of knowledge. It relates intimately to historiography, which is the study of how history has been written over time, the history of historical writing itself, exploring different approaches, biases, and interpretations throughout the centuries. It has a profound connection to philosophy, constantly grappling with questions of truth, evidence, meaning, causality, and human agency in the vast sweep of time. History informs education, shaping how we transmit knowledge about our past to new generations, fostering critical thinking and a sense of belonging to a larger human story. And it is deeply interwoven with politics, as historical narratives often play a powerful role in shaping national identities, justifying policies, or inspiring social movements. The past is never truly dead, it breathes through our present, shaping our perceptions and choices. So, as we bring our gentle journey through the realm of history to a close for tonight, let us reflect on its enduring power. It is the story of U.S., of every smile, every tear, every invention, every decision that has ever been made. It invites us to listen to the whispers of forgotten times, to ponder the mysteries of human motivation, and to find our own place within the grand, flowing river of existence. May this quiet contemplation of the past bring you a sense of peace, a deeper understanding of our shared human journey, and a tranquil drift into the restful embrace of sleep. Good night, dear listener, and may your dreams be filled with gentle echoes of all that has been.